Hey, welcome. So, have you ever sent a Bitcoin transaction and then just sat there staring at the screen, wondering why it's taking so long? Well, believe it or not, that seemingly slow confirmation time is actually one of Bitcoin's most important features. And it all starts with a pretty good joke. Right? It's a little nerdy, I know, but it totally nails the big idea we're going to unpack today. That whole concept of proof of work, it's not just the punchline, it's literally the key to understanding how the entire Bitcoin network works. Okay, let's dive into this. Let's really unpack that punchline. What is this proof of work that every block needs before it's allowed to, join the party? So here's the deal. Proof of work, or POW for short, is the system that keeps Bitcoin secure and honest. You can think of it like a massive, worldwide race. All these powerful computers, called miners, are all competing at the exact same time to solve a super complex math problem. It's kind of like trying to guess one specific number out of trillions and trillions of possibilities. And this analogy really helps make sense of it. Before a new block of transactions can be added to the chain, become friends with the other blocks, it has to prove it's done its homework by solving that puzzle. It's like a built-in trust-building exercise for the whole network. So here's how that race actually breaks down. You've got thousands of miners all over the world, all guessing the answer to that puzzle at the same time. The very first one to get it right wins. And the prize? They get the right to add the next block of transactions to the blockchain. The whole thing is designed to take, on average, about 10 minutes. And for all that hard work, the winning miner gets a reward in brand new Bitcoin. And that brings us to the magic number here, 10 minutes. Now, this isn't a mistake or some kind of glitch. The Bitcoin network is actually designed to automatically adjust how hard that puzzle is. So no matter how many miners are competing, a new block is found roughly every 10 minutes. It's a completely deliberate, calculated delay. Which leads us to a really big shift in how we think about this. What if that 10-minute wait isn't a flaw? What if it's actually Bitcoin's greatest strength? The biggest complaint you always hear is that it's slow. People see that as the bug. But the truth is, the slowness is the feature. That 10-minute gap makes it incredibly difficult and crazy expensive for anyone to cheat the system. I mean, to change just one transaction, a hacker would have to resolve the puzzle for that block, and then for every single block that came after it, all while trying to outrace the entire global network. It's basically impossible. So the bottom line is that waiting period is what guarantees your transaction is legit. It's the entire network coming together to verify, secure, and lock your transaction into the permanent, unchangeable history of the blockchain. In other words, that wait time is your security blanket. Okay, so now that we get why the wait exists, what can we actually do with that time? Instead of just staring at the screen and getting impatient, you can turn that time into a huge advantage. It's a real opportunity to be a smarter and safer user. Seriously, think of it as a mandatory cooling off period. First, use those minutes to triple check that you sent the right amount to the right address, because once that transaction is confirmed, there are no takebacks. You can also use the time to understand the transaction fee you just paid and maybe why it was high or low. Or even better, you could use that time to look into something called a cold storage wallet, which is basically like moving your digital cash from your back pocket to a Fort Knox-level vault for long-term safety. See, when you start to embrace this rhythm, it builds patience. It forces you to just slow down for a minute, which is something we rarely do anymore. And in the world of crypto, where one little mistake can be super costly, a little bit of forced patience is an incredibly valuable thing. It really helps you appreciate the security that's working hard for you in the background. And this whole idea brings us to a final, bigger thought. This concept of proof of work isn't just for cryptocurrency. We can actually use it as a kind of mental model for decisions in our own lives. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Just imagine if your most important decisions, like sending a really heated email or making a huge impulse buy online or hitting post on that controversial social media comment, what if they all had a mandatory 10-minute proof of work delay? How many mistakes could you avoid? How much better could our choices be with just a little built-in patience? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.